marine emergency.
The worst disaster at sea in decades. 33 people on board the cargo ship El Faro when it vanished last fall.
33 souls of our loved ones, and it's their final resting place.
4 of them from Maine: Captain Michael Davidson, Dylan Mecklin, Danielle Randolph, and Michael Holland.
He'll always be in my heart.
Tonight, the I-Team explores a mystery 3 miles beneath the Atlantic.
There's so many unknowns in this tragedy.
From the captain's heartbreaking final call for help,
Oh man, the clock is ticking.
to the crew's last minutes and the violent end to their voyage.
When that ship went down, I guarantee you she went down fighting for everything that child's got.
The enormous challenges in this unprecedented investigation.
They're doing what they need to do to hopefully prevent this from happening again.
How this catastrophe could reshape operations on the ocean and the impact for future mariners in Maine. Live on Fox 23, El Faro, The Final Voyage.
Good evening, I'm John Cresos, live in Jacksonville, Florida, where the cargo ship El Faro left 1 year ago in these waters on the way to Puerto Rico. The ship never made it.
I'm Marissa Bodner at Maine Maritime Academy in Castine, where the 4 Mainers on board were trained how to navigate an unforgiving sea.
Tonight, we'll show you how everyone on board is being remembered, including at this park here on the north side in Jacksonville. But first, a look back at that final journey that ended their lives. Tuesday night, September 29th, El Faro leaves Jacksonville, Florida at 8:15, destination Puerto Rico. Captain Michael Davidson intends to steer south of the storm's predicted path.
Had intentions of obviously passing in front of the weather system.
But just 12 hours after the ship left Jacksonville, Tropical Storm Joaquin becomes a hurricane. The first signs of trouble come Thursday, October 1st, when Joaquin slides south. The ship starts taking on water, now leaning 15 degrees. The ship loses propulsion, now at the mercy of the high seas and wind gusts of 150 miles an hour. That morning, Captain Davidson tries to reach the ship's owner, Tote Maritime, on shore, but can only leave a voicemail.
We have a navigational incident. Everybody's safe, but I want to talk to you.
He then calls the company's emergency call center, asking to speak with a qualified individual.
Okay, sir. I just need your name, please.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Michael Davidson.
Ship's name?
El Faro.
Spell that. E-L.
Oh, man. The clock is ticking. Can I please speak with a QI?
His voice stressing urgency. He speaks with another operator.
Hi, thank you for waiting. Just really briefly, what is the problem you're having?
I have a marine emergency, and I would like to speak to a QI. We've lost the main propulsion unit. The engineers cannot get it going.
Davidson is connected to the manager on call. He says he thinks he can pump water from the ship. But with the ship northeast of the Bahamas, it's the last communication anyone has with El Faro. As the sun set October 7th, so did any hope the crew would be found. The Coast Guard suspends the search and rescue.
Any decision to suspend a search is painful.
Captain Michael Davidson, the man you heard on those gut-wrenching phone calls, learned all about the risks of the ocean right here at Maine Maritime. In fact, this ship behind me is one of those that students use to train on. Captain Davidson grew up in Windham and is from South Portland originally. He lived and died with the sea. Davidson started learning about the ferries at Casco Bay Lines working as a deckhand at 16 years old and eventually becoming a captain. Nick Mavadones describes Davidson as an experienced leader and calm under pressure.
Very serious about what he did when we worked together. He was a very squared away mariner, very prudent, meticulous to details around the navigation and about safety and passengers and cargo.
Davidson raised 2 daughters with his wife, Teresa. Both young ladies currently attend the University of Southern Maine. And Captain Davidson himself graduated from here at Maine Maritime back in 1988. At 53 years old, he had 20 years of experience, 10 of those as a captain. His final voyage would be with Faro, a medium-sized cargo ship. In 1993, she was cut in half and lengthened 90 feet, making her 800 feet long. 10 years later, she served the U.S. military in the Iraq War, bringing Marines and supplies to Kuwait, even coming under fire, but did not sustain damage. She was 40 at the time of her last run.
Why was a ship 40 years old, why was it still being put in service? 33 people died so that frozen chickens could be delivered on time in Puerto Rico.
Faro was designed to transport vehicles. When she left port, she was carrying 294 cars, trucks, and trailers. The ship also had nearly 400 cargo containers on board. When it came to a final resting place, only 2 of those remained on deck. The value of that lost cargo is estimated in the range of $16 million.
And some naval architects say the ship's design and cargo configuration also could have played a role in the ship sinking. They're also looking at the age of the ship itself. All of this came up during investigative hearings that happened this year here in Jacksonville. The Coast Guard, during those hearings, is grilling witnesses, asking the tough questions. These hearings are rare, and with Portland being a working waterfront, so many people are clinging to each new discovery, each new piece of information revealed, as it could help solve this challenging puzzle.
That sun, you can see the horizon here.
From his law office in downtown Portland, Maine Maritime grad Michael Savasic is keeping a close eye on the Faro investigation.
It was an extremely tragic event that saddened me.
Weeks of public hearings happening here in Jacksonville, Florida. Being part of this, what are you hoping to gather and be able to learn through this process?
The main goal of this is to analyze what happened and then make recommendations.
Captain Jason Neubauer is the chair of the Coast Guard Marine Board of Investigation. 2 hearings this year and 4 weeks of testimony. Slowly, the facts are coming to the surface. The condition of the 40-year-old ship, a sharp focus.
This ship is old. If you look at the inside of the deck on the second level, it's rusted to death. It's rust everywhere. Only thing we do is mask the problem.
According to records, the ship passed an annual Coast Guard inspection in March 2015, but a boiler company recommended service to both engine boilers just about 3 weeks before the vessel sank. The ship was also on a Coast Guard list of vessels to watch for problems. Another clue.
One of the first questions of red flags that came up in my mind is they had a riding crew on there. That means they were doing some repairs to the vessel.
Faro also didn't have a weather routing service, and equipment to measure wind speed and direction may have been broken.
When I left the vessel was that it did not work.
From the physical failures of the ship to the decision to make the trip in the first place with a hurricane brewing.
The captain makes the final decision when he's going to sail and his routing.
The ship's owners and operators revealing no one on shore was tracking the hurricane. As they repeated, responsibility at sea rests with the captain. Still, witnesses told the board Captain Davidson was meticulous in his duties and eminently qualified.
He always made a point to instruct people to work safely, watch out for each other, and just take your time and do it right.
The Coast Guard is planning a 3rd investigative hearing also down here in Jacksonville to look at some of the information being collected and analyzed on that Voyage data recorder. There is a separate investigation, also important to know, that is being done right now by the NTSB. But now, a year later, and still no concrete answer as to why the ship sank. It could be a while before we find out. The average NTSB investigation takes anywhere from 9 months to 3 years. And on the eve of this anniversary, Tote sent us a statement saying, in these last 12 months, Tote has fully cooperated with the U.S. Coast Guard and the NTSB and their respective investigations. Our desire throughout this process has been to learn everything possible about the loss of our crew and vessel.
The youngest crew member aboard the Faro was Dylan Meckland. He grew up in Rockland. He had just recently graduated from Maine Maritime Academy, and at 23 years old, he was just days into his first ever job at sea. Meckland was a third assistant engineer on Faro, a position fellow Mainer Danielle Randolph helped him to get. Hundreds turned out to a candlelit vigil last year held at the Fisherman's Memorial. The loss hit the community particularly hard on the mid-coast, where people are well aware of the risks that come with a life at sea. Many remember Meckland as a standout high school athlete with a wonderful personality and a big heart.
Voted most likely to appear on ESPN. Everybody, figured, he was going to do these great athletic things. Dylan knew that I have other goals.
Some residents in Rockland were inspired to create a monument honoring all lives lost at sea. That project was proposed earlier this year.
A month after the Faro disappeared, the NTSB found the wreckage in total darkness. It really was an extensive and very challenging search. For 5 days, they scanned the ocean floor using sonar equipment until they found Faro. The ship was badly damaged, but sitting up in an upright position and all in one piece. However, the bridge, the ship's command center, where investigators hoped to find the Voyage data recorder, wasn't there. The top 2 decks, including where the captain would have been fighting this storm, were gone. They later found the bridge a half-mile away from the wreckage. And then it would take 2 more missions before crews were able to find that Voyage data recorder. It is similar to an airplane's black box. And this recovery mission, those in the industry are calling it an engineering marvel.
It was a needle in a haystack from the beginning.
This is what the VDR from Faro looks like. It sat at the bottom of the ocean for 10 months in about 15,000 feet of water until the robotic submarine pulled it to the surface.
The idea that they found it, that they were able to detach it from the mast without damaging the capsule and bring it to the surface, I get chills thinking about how remarkable an operation this was.
Here's what we now know. 26 hours of information was recovered from the VDR, including bridge audio, weather, and navigational data. The NTSB says the device is in good condition, although the quality of the audio recording is degraded because of high levels of background noise, and they're using audio filtering to improve the quality. The recording starts around 5:30 the morning of September 30th, 2015, about 8 hours after the ship left Jacksonville. The last thing you hear is Captain Michael Davidson sounding the alarm, telling the crew to abandon ship at 7:30 the morning of October 1st.
You're going to get to hear whatever it is the captain relayed to other members of the crew from what he heard from the people in the engine room.
Next, fighting for those final conversations.
I just want to hear her last words.
The battle between some families and the federal government.
I still want to hear the audio, even though they've told me no.
The law preventing the NTSB from releasing those last words. And now, Faro, the final voyage continues.
34-year-old Danielle Randolph was the second mate on Faro. She grew up here on the mid-coast, and friends say she had a fascination with the sea. She also loved the Patriots and came from a family dedicated to others. Her father worked in the police department, her mom at the dispatch center.
It's really emotional for us because they saw Danielle growing up in the station.
Danielle spoke to her mother hours before the ship went down. In an email sent 2 days into the trip, she told her mom about Hurricane Joaquin. She said the storm became a Category 3 hurricane and they were headed straight for it.
Danielle's mother, Lori, is one of many people fighting to hear the final conversations on Faro. Investigators say they do plan to release transcripts from the VDR, but not the audio. And some families tell us that decision is unacceptable.
I just want to hear her last words.
Mom Lori Bobbio thought she would get to hear her daughter's voice one last time.
I know her professionalism was on there, and I'm just very proud to be Danielle's mom, and I'd just really like to have some closure.
But the NTSB won't let Bobbio or any of the Faro families hear audio recordings from the ship's data recorder.
As I said, it's in statute, and I can't really comment on beyond that.
We looked it up. Here it is. The board may not disclose publicly any part of a surface vehicle voice or video recording.
By our statutes, no one will be listening to that outside the agency personnel required to, so they, in fact, will not be listening to the actual audio.
Bobbio says it's not fair the families are being excluded under the public release law.
We're regarded as nothing more than the common public. We were also looking forward to getting that VDR, so we could hear their last words. And then now that they got it, they slap us on the side of the face saying, hey, guess what? You're not going to get to hear it.
Bobbio isn't the only one pushing to hear the recordings.
I want to hear the audio.
Carla Newkirk's father, Larry Davis, was on the ship too.
I still want to hear the audio, even though they've told me no.
Maritime attorney Rod Sullivan is also questioning the decision on behalf of his client, the family of crew member Sylvester Crawford.
None of the families are being represented at the listening to the tapes. The tapes will be listened to by the NTSB and the Coast Guard, then they'll be listened to by TOTE. And on the behalf of at least my client, I asked the NTSB if I could listen to the recordings, and they said no.
The NTSB has formed a VDR group to develop a detailed transcript of that VDR. They say it will be time-consuming, and there's no timeline for when it will be released. But again, just the transcript, not the audio, will be released to the public.
Next, keeping her son's memory alive.
I know that he's watching over us, and he's just like, wow, look at this, Mom. Look at what we did.
The scholarship she created.
It definitely takes on a responsibility.
How it's making MMA students Holland strong. And now, El Faro, the final voyage continues.
It was here in Jacksonville last year. We met the mother of 25-year-old Mike Holland, Deb Roberts. We got to be close to her and learned a lot about Mike through Deb. She shared stories with us of her son, and we learned just how important he was to his Maine community. A 2008 graduate of Jay High School, he was a football star and the prom king. His mom, Deb Roberts, described a mix of emotions as she arrived in Jacksonville, coming back to the city where she found out her son wouldn't be coming home.
So it brings back a lot of emotions to come back to where we were a year ago when we found out the ship was missing, and just that whole whirlwind week waiting for information, and then obviously getting the worst news.
Deb arrived in Jacksonville on Thursday with her family and the family of Danielle Randolph. They spent the day touring the new ship that replaced El Faro, the Isla Bella.
And from high school, Mike Holland enrolled here at Maine Maritime Academy, graduating in 2012. Classmates called him one of the best and most talented mariners to ever set sail. He was a third engineer aboard El Faro. When his mom learned that he wouldn't be coming home, she immediately set up a scholarship fund in his honor. Today, 3 students here at Maine Maritime are following in Mike's footsteps. Carter Jordan.
I went to Leavitt Area High School.
Aaron Duwyren.
I was lucky enough to be the captain for all 3 sports, my junior and senior year.
And Chase Hekinen.
I'm a diehard hunter and fisher, and I love Maine and its wilderness. And
have many things that make them unique. But when you start talking to them...
I'm going to Maine Maritime Academy for MET, which is Marine Engineering Technology.
You'll notice.
I'm excited to be a mariner, and I'm very excited for the future.
They have a lot in common.
I'm going to be majoring in Marine Engineering Technology.
All 3 are now freshmen at Maine Maritime Academy, and they're all Holland strong.
It definitely takes on a responsibility.
Jordan was the first to receive the Holland Strong Memorial Scholarship during awards night at Leavitt Area High School. He says there wasn't a dry eye in the house.
Knowing how much she loved her son and how much it meant to her just meant a lot more to me when she personally gave it to me.
It was a similar story at Mount Blue.
I tried to rush up there, and she gave me a big hug, and it was amazing. It was an indescribable feeling.
It's a huge honor.
Mike Holland's passions and memory live on through these students, who have more in common with him than they may realize.
We all have this little connection, and I'm pretty sure we'll have it for a long, long time.
A fourth student, Amber Delaney, also received the Holland Memorial Scholarship. She's studying at the University of Maine.
Next.
The city really feels like it was something we all lost.
Remembering the Faro 33, how the tragedy is now transforming an abandoned city park, adding light and hope for all to see.
And now, El Faro, the final voyage continues.
The one-year mark of this tragedy will no doubt be on the minds of many here at Maine Maritime this weekend and tomorrow, but the Academy's president says they won't be observing it in any public way. Instead, he says the El Faro crew members' names will be read in a ceremony later this fall, along with those of all other alumni they've lost. A much different story, though, down in Jacksonville, where officials are getting ready to rededicate a park over this weekend. John?
Tomorrow, this park here on the north side of Jacksonville will be rededicated to honor the El Faro 33. This park was in pretty rough shape for years, but now it's had a major makeover. Tucked away under the tallest bridge in Jacksonville is Dames Point Park.
It's been unmaintained for quite a long time, and this park was in really poor condition.
But not anymore. This old sign taken down. The 30-year-old park renamed El Faro Memorial at Dames Point Park. New lights, grass, and benches. A 9-acre facelift paid for by the owners and operators of El Faro.
It's something that I think we'll be able to all share and you know, bring us back to what happened on that day.
The day El Faro left Jacksonville on its final voyage, passing by this dock, often filled with fishermen, waving as ships pass by.
The city really feels like it was something we all lost.
There's also a new lighthouse at the park.
This used to not even exist.
A memorial tribute to honor and remember friends and loved ones lost at sea. So you guys must be pretty proud of the work that you did. It looks great. Right. Alan Davis helped build it, nice and another lighthouse across town at the Seafarers Union Hall.
Well, it's special doing something that has a lot of meaning to it like this, so it just means a lot to us.
It also means a lot to Maine mom Deb Roberts, a place by the water to remember and reflect.
We don't have a grave to go to. We don't have a site to go and grieve. To me, it's going to be a marking place to go in the future, you know, to maybe come every year just to mark the anniversary, and a place to go talk to Mike.
With this park and memorial now complete and set to be unveiled tomorrow, there are still many questions in this year-long investigation, and you can count on us to keep covering it. And as we do, we'll continue to remember the lives lost on board El Faro and just how much they meant to their families and our communities. For Marissa Bonder in Castine, I'm John Chrysos in Jacksonville, Florida. We thank you for joining us. Good night.